Hello, welcome back to Suzerain. I did restart this recording about 2 or 3 times because there was an update to that NVIDIA thing that I'm using, the RTX AI thing. So that's wonderful. So I started talking a lot without, without you guys being able to hear me. But these are the reactions to the mandatory conscription changes that I made. I think some people will be upset about it. The radical are happy. The Holds opposed are upset. I think some people in the comments will be upset. Some people will probably be happy. I like the idea of a modern army that is able to serve as a, proper spearhead in offensive operations. And the rest will, will rely on potentially just drafting everybody, like a Volks or Volksdom thing. That was probably a terrible pronunciation of that word, but, I gotta, actually prime myself for a German word before I say it. I can't shift naturally into it like you can between Norwegian and English. So let's see, we got the briefing on the economic situation. By the way, we are going to try to ally with everybody. I messed it up with Vel, and I probably should have done that and just compromised on my morals, honestly. But I was afraid that we would have some sort of insurrection with the BFF in Bergia. And honestly, if we are helping the BFF, this is a complete pipe dream, by the way. I don't know if it's going to be realistic at all to expect, but if we are helping the BFF or the, Workers' Party of Bludia and make them feel like we are, there to help them, those Rumburgian arms could very quickly turn on Rumburg, right? Like that is a possibility. I don't think it's a realistic one, but it's something that I'm hopeful for, that, whenever the actual war comes, which I believe it probably will, because even though I'm going in blind, I've been hearing rumblings here and there. Yeah, so I think if they were to actually side with us, that would be amazing. Like if we had an already established trained partisan movement inside the country, that would be insanely good. I don't know if it's realistic to expect though. They want their country first. That's what they need. They might just exploit the chaos and try to attack us, but I've been trying to make friends with them, or trying to be nice to them, I guess. Briefing on the current economic situation. The team gathered in Holsod at the Ministry of Economy to conduct an economy overview meeting to go over the current situation. The building was constructed in 1892 by Heron Walt, one of the, if not the, most famous architect in Sordland. The building looked simple and elegant, with a few of his signature domes spread out over the roof. Walking through the large bronze doors at the entrance, I was led by 2 assistants upstairs into a meeting room. Everyone stood up as I entered the room, buttoning their suit jackets. Welcome, Mr. President. Please take your seats. Was this, yeah, this is Cyril Figgis, right? Or, no, this is Cyril Figgis. Someone mentioned how the person I thought it was from Archer was, Cyril Figgis. Everyone took their seats. As you all know, today we'll go over the economic status. Let's begin without any further ado. The aid we received from Allocation has helped us tremendously. Personally, I think it was a great decision, Mr. President. We'll use the majority of the capital to combat the recession. I have to do whatever it takes to end the recession, even if it meant a deal with Arcadia. I don't think anyone in the room is questioning your decision, Mr. President. How are we doing in terms of infrastructure? The first months had positive indicators, but the delay of the infrastructure project reversed economic gains. Oh no. Well, why couldn't we solve the H3 highway construction issues? The National Business Council isn't happy with the lack of tangible economic improvements at all. Expected better performance from all of us. Our first investment was meant to be a good step in the overall plan. Surely there is still a way to finish what we have begun. From my perspective, we need more cash injection into the economy. David, do you have any status on the stats on our deal with Agnolia? Our trade deal with Agnolia has increased our imports and exports by 25% in 1 month, with much more to be expected in the future, but higher prices of Agnolian steel didn't result in a trade surplus. We should look for more trade partners. We can make much more and increase our presence in the region. I agree, not just the region. We should target for more deals internationally. We should use or see our improved relations with Agnolia as a stepping stone to expand positive influence. I support our foreign initiatives with partners as democratic as Agnolia. That's beside the point. It didn't reply, but she smiled. On a side note, consumer spending has increased due to the optimistic mood caused by the successes in our economic gains. By that, beside the point thing, I will trade with Velen, for example. Let's see. Excellent news. We need to keep working hard. I'm confident that we can do much more than what we have accomplished so far. We're also close to getting high economic growth rates. We should be able, or be willing, to cooperate on new projects. Sadly, our budget reserves don't look good. We will need to look into whatever we can do to increase the budget we have. What can we do about it? I'll formulate a plan and present you the next steps. As per the latest data, unfortunately, the recession seems to be lingering. No matter the cost, we will have to increase our economic development rates, otherwise I'm sad that we will be doomed. We need to use the opportunities we are shown. Trade deals and infrastructure improvements always help. Mr. President, I will be very clear. You already know this, and I don't want to frighten you, but if we are unable to stop this recession, we are heading towards an economic catastrophe that was never ever seen before in Sordland. No, in an entire Eastern Maricopa. Can't even begin to imagine how we could survive that. None of us want to see Swedish people starve while the state is unable to provide for its citizens. Then we need to get to work. Exactly. Now, to help with the recession, there are a few possibilities I want to outline. We might be in debt, but that doesn't change the fact that we need to increase our economic development, so there is a potential to take additional debt to flatten the curve. I'm fine with that. I've prepared a few project proposals. There are two main distinctions in between these projects. It's either about continuing our infrastructure improvements or investing in increasing production. If we continue on our infrastructure, that would lift us up to advanced country levels. However, our industrial production suffered and also needs a boost to return to pre-recession levels. There is, of course, the option to not take any risks related to our budget. The plans for these projects will be finalized soon. For now, I can provide preliminary information. What are the projects that could improve infrastructure? One is the Benfia International Airport, and the other is the Mona Port. So the Benfia International Airport was... yeah, that one is like over capacity. It's growing at a rapid pace and would benefit highly from an international airport. Much more money to be made there too. The Mona Port will boost trade and improve the flow of goods towards Holsod because the Conriat port is too small and capacity and extension is blocked by the Navy headquarters. Let's see, where's Mona? So there. I literally have no idea which one to go for. I have no idea. But I guess like an airport isn't as good for logistics and for like money, right? Like it's not as good for like industry at all. Like how many goods are actually transported by air? It's all shipping. Especially in 1954, right? It's all, like, anything transported by air is like luxury goods or whatever, or mail and stuff like that. This has to be the best one, right? Mona. I don't think investing in Mona with a port would do much to change our economic prospects. Goods are flowing from other places just as fast. Increased imports and exports on a more accessible path to Holsod is very lucrative in my opinion. Time is money. I agree with Edith. The Mona port will mean a great deal to our trade and improve the economy of the Lauren region too. I like this guy, so I'm probably just going to end up simping for him. What are the projects that could boost our production? For production, we have two projects. One is Sana Agricultural Zone, and the other is the Conriat Industrial City. I see the Agri Zone as a high priority due to the fact that farmers in Berger were the most hit by the recession. Sana also is a much poorer city than Conriat. Conriat Industrial City project has the potential to increase manufacturing in the greater Holsod region by a large amount. If I'm going to go off of the, like, you know, appeasing the Bloods and all that, I have to go for the Berger one, right? I have to lift them up. It would be insanely cool to see an invasion and then see, like, volunteer partisans who once fought the government fight by our side, though again, probably not realistic. Conriat is way over here, and Sana is down there. Sana is a much poorer city indeed. It deserves any investment it can get from the government. The recession has hit the farmers of Sana particularly hard. Besides, the agricultural output increase would boost our economy. The investment won't be able to recover the industry there. Conriat, on the other hand, would bring more financial gain. Government has the opportunity to support agriculture and we should take it. It would increase our exports too. Yeah, I feel like I'm leaning towards the Agri-Zone. Agri-Zone and or the port. Anybody who wants to add something? Nobody answered. That concludes the meeting. Have a good day all. Goodbye. Until next time, Mr. President. See you soon. Okay, we have 5 news articles, and we have news out of Agnolia. What is Agnolia? PM Van Horten warns about Valk's Indian presence. Please, can you guys just be friends? Who cares about fictional Åland here? Just give it to Finland. Or does Finland have it? Give it to... I don't know. Whatever. A3 highway has been officially delayed for a year. The managers of the project apologized in a public statement, taking the blame on themselves. Well, that's good, I guess, but I want progress. I don't want apologies. Polio cases discovered in rural Suzerain. Well, that is terrible. Oh, is this the pandemic that we might have been heading towards? Uh-oh. I don't know how contagious polio is. Actually, don't know very much about polio, honestly. Housewives march to defend the Swedish tradition in Anrik. I know that the vaccine sort of completely eradicated it, but Swedish League of Women spearheaded a march for so-called education equality in Anrika. What do you mean so-called? A group of self-proclaimed happy housewives led a counter-protest. Well, why do that? They want to help you. Their argument is that pulling girls out of handicraft classes and forcing them into science classes alongside boys would be an affront to Swedish tradition, and that co-ed restrooms in schools will be the next logical step. Ah, yes, of course, the slippery slope argument. No, the co-ed restrooms are not... Well, co-ed restrooms are the logical step. You just make a single room be the restroom, like it would be the toilet, another room be another toilet, another room be another toilet, and have the sinks be common, right? There's no reason to make this dramatic. That's how we do it at universities here, at least in Norway. Though we do actually split them so that once you come in, there are like 3 individual rooms which have like 1 toilet in them, or on either side, 3 for the men, 3 for the women. But you can use whichever one you want. Nobody gives a shit. Once you're inside, you've closed the door and everything, so it's just, you know, so that I guess not everybody, so that one doesn't get just male dominated, I guess, or just a way to like funnel people into 2 different like sides, I guess. Swedish State Corporation delays highway construction. And also, by the way, that works to my favor because I am a man, and most people at university in Norway, I think most people at least, are women. Swedish State Corporation delays highway construction. As expected, Swedish State Corporation failed to meet most students anyway. But yeah, so yep, the economists are upset. Geopolitical Operation Bear Trap begins. It's condemned, yeah. Rumberg, Agnoli, and Lesbia have condemned the mobilization order, citing the war crimes committed during the previous assault against the British people, while Sutherland has not made any comments on the matter. Amid spiking tensions with Agnoli, Volkswagen increases naval presence. Well, that's bad. Sutherland's diplomacy disappoints. President Rain went to Raklowitz only to come back empty-handed. Yeah, that does come as great news, but I don't wanna be party to war crimes. I'm sorry. There are several investment projects outlined which we could start. Okay, so all of them cost -2 budget. That is a lot, honestly. I will do the Sana agricultural zone. That's a lot of budget. We're now at -3 debt, which is a lot, but people are saying debt is the government's friend. Budget allocation of healthcare. I was having my afternoon tea in my office and going through newspapers. One of the headlines piqued my interest. It read, polio crisis in Velen. Before I could start reading, I heard a couple of knocks. Pascal entered, followed by Lucian. Mr. President, it's time for the scheduled healthcare meeting. Good afternoon. Afternoon. Very well, let's begin. They're taking their seats, and Pascal produced documents from his suitcase. He put them on the table. Pascal looked at the newspapers I was reading, or the newspaper. Very troubling news from Velen, Mr. President. I've just returned from a meeting with our top scientist on the matter of polio. It seems to be spreading. Indeed, this might have dire consequences in the region. What I was told by our researchers was that with the current infection rate, there will soon be millions of people affected by polio. So I've notified all of our healthcare staff, especially the ones closer to Velen border. Unfortunately, these are also the more rural areas where we lack equipment and staff. We need to be ready for any possibility. I doubt it's that serious yet. Regardless, back to the topic. Mr. Data, with all due respect, pandemics must be treated very seriously before they've become very seriously. Otherwise, like, again, you can't You can't start doing the work after it's become dangerous. Pascal put on his reading glasses and went through the documents. He didn't say anything for a whole minute. Mr. Bennuel? Yes, of course, let's start. He put his papers down, cleared his throat, and looked at me. In general, I'm very content with the budget decision that was made. This comes as no surprise, as I know you are a man of your word. The overall mood has been positive as the administration focused more on healthcare. I'm excited about what we can achieve with the allocated funds. We have to minimize service disparity in the country. The situation isn't good at all. I'm personally invested to solve the horrible infant and maternal death rates along with your requests. As you know, I have been preparing a new privatization program that would create funds through selling of unused ministry property and some extra taxes. As I know of this too, Pascal, this goes against our economic doctrine. Additionally, health is a key sector people expect to have in public hands. Aside from creating additional funds, there is a long-term problem with privatization in a country like Switzerland. You are right, there might be structural issues, especially due to private greed and market manipulation. This is what I've mentioned in past episodes. Also, by the way, like I've gone to a private clinic in Norway because I've got this throat issue where my voice, way more in the past, used to go after just like one video that I recorded, and I couldn't speak much with friends and stuff. And it was a terrible time. It led to just horrible, like depressiveness essentially. But what happened was that I went in and got essentially looked at. They looked down my throat. He said like, "Hey, your vocal cords look nice," and I was like, "Thank you, you too." And then he just sort of like told me, "Well, maybe you should check a check out vocal therapy." And I was like, "Can you refer me?" He was like, "Nope." And then I left, and I paid like 2,000 NOK, which is probably like $200 or something like that, $250, maybe $190. I'm not sure which way the currency exchange is trending right now. Whereas if I went to my private, or my actual doctor, which I hadn't gotten one yet because I'd just moved to a new city, if I went to my actual doctor, which I would do some months later, he told me that, he gave me more or less the same information, but also gave me specific information about where to look for the vocal therapy and stuff, and like gave me links and stuff. And I paid like $15. And he even prescribed me like sleep medication and stuff. I did like stuff beyond what I actually asked for, because of some other issues I had. So honestly, all my homies hate private healthcare. Also in a country where most people don't have access to quality healthcare. I do agree that there is some concern there, but the benefits of competitive and quality service is greater. This is not Allocation nor Lesbia. You're talking about Switzerland, in which the healthcare is free now. We have people who have their lives depending on a service that is free to them. Messing with that structure will definitely hurt us politically in the future. That I know for sure, but the choice is yours, Mr. President. We'll keep healthcare in state control. Don't allow any private involvement that could endanger core health services. As you wish, the health services shall remain in public hands. Yeah, privatizing healthcare right now would be idiotic, because that is the one place I've actually, invested more funds. Now let's get to the big question of how we will spend the extra funds dedicated to the Ministry of Health. With your suggestions, we have three options to use the majority of our funds on. We can build new hospitals when needed, we can spend money on increasing salaries and of our health workers, or we can spend money to improve existing treatment in rural areas. Building hospitals would increase our popularity. Improving treatment in rural areas is a must. It would prevent mistreatment, disease, and sickness. Our rural clinics are old, ill-equipped, and understaffed, which causes a huge urban and rural disparity. It is one of the causes of maternal deaths and other sicknesses, which I want to solve within this term. Reports have shown that minor epidemics are spreading in certain areas, due to old facilities with a lack of hygiene and equipment. I believe improving treatment in rural areas should be our focus, Mr. President. I agree. It would be best to consider the political advantages of each one as well as the practical advantages before making a decision. I think that we have made plenty of decisions that have been politically advantageous. Let's do the rural treatment. And this one will also be politically advantageous to a sense, or to a degree. Very well, fruitful meeting nevertheless, nice and short. Just the way I like it. Pascal gathered his documents and left along with Lucian. Are we gonna get like 3 events in one episode? Oh my god, that's like a record. I will do 3 things in 30 minutes. Velen military initiates assault on targets. On their way, many British villages were assaulted, and the initial reports indicate a high death toll. That's what I thought. Many displaced refugees from the battles have been seen moving towards the Swedish border. Well, I welcome them with open hands. Or arms, rather. Ursen v. Sutherland case, a landmark court filing, has been appealed to the Court of Appeals today and is under review by the Minister of Justice. The lawyer and British civil rights activist Isabel Ursen sued their municipality, led by Felix Bron, for the infringement of the constitutional rights of equality before the law. The case questions the separate legal treatment of the British in Der and, by extension, the whole of Belgium. I'm guessing I'm going to have to intervene in some way, shape, or form on this case. Like, this is a scandal that's building up, I'm pretty sure. Swedish politician, he's of USP, of course, like everyone almost. What if any, like, actual mayors and big people anywhere locally are PFJP? Or NFP, for that matter. Talks with Friends Richter on the upcoming vote. But we desperately needed more votes. Therefore, I invited Friends Richter to talk to him about the upcoming vote and ensure that PFJP supports the new constitution. He held the key to our success. What? We need like 5 votes, right? We met in the presidential office during the evening. He arrived in his signature navy blue suit and gifted me a box of famous Allocation chocolates before settling down on the couch. Of course, he gives me Allocation chocolates. You're a fan of Allocation, aren't you? Fan of their chocolates, yes. You don't like them? Oh, that's not what I meant. Thanks for the gift. Oh, it's nothing, Mr. Rain. He took out a small notepad and looked at it. I have to say, I'm surprised by the proposal you've prepared for the new constitution, but I really do not understand your reasoning behind some of the changes here. What parts do you not understand? Don't get me wrong, I like the draft, as I've stated earlier during the reform committees. I'm just honestly surprised by our decision to decrease the electoral threshold and the term limits. We're nearly sure that you would not listen to the reformers' demands. How does the USP feel about that, Mr. President? Is this political suicide, or did you actually manage to unite the party under this? USP is in agreement. That's what I at least heard last time. It is up to you to support it now. Mrs. Tory didn't seem very enthusiastic about the new constitution. Are you sure you have all the votes needed? I believe that the Chief Justice has her ear, and the old gods are doing their best for you to fail the vote. Are you aware that the old god has been reaching out to even the members of my party, and I hope you're doing something to contain this mess? Who would guess? Of course they are, but we shouldn't worry. So we have a plan. But even if we pass this first vote, how are you going to persuade the judges to vote for this? They surely will consider this proposal as anti-Sol. This is how we convince them. If we unite together, they will be forced to support us. I'm not so sure about that. Sure, there are a few like-minded judges on the court, but it will be up to the centrists, and also has them locked up. If we're doing this, we have to make it count. I hope that you will succeed, Mr. Rain. I respect what you're doing inside the USP. I will do my best to flip the judges in the court as well. You can count on the PFJP votes. I like this. Just want your promise that you will give us proper credit and finally do something about the unbalanced representation of our party on state television. Your party has been in power for decades and has done whatever it could to diminish our chances. If one USP president is finally deciding to do proper reforms with the support of the opposition, we'll expect him to properly acknowledge the wrongs that has been done and finally act against the Solist state apparatus in full force. Of course, we're in this together. That's great to hear. I hope I can rely on you in the upcoming vote. We expect your party to fully support this, and PFJP will be giving its full support. I'm happy to cooperate with you, Mr. Richter. Likewise, Mr. Rain. Is there anything else? Before you leave, I'd like to ask you something about some things I've heard about you. What things? There are so many things said about me that I can't keep track of them anymore. What is your relationship with Dwight Walker? There are some rumors circulating about your closeness to him. I've met with Mr. Walker before, so I am the largest opposition leader in Swordsland and free to travel and see anyone. Well, let me explain to you the context of our relationship, rather. As you know, the downfall of President Alfonso was abrupt. He was the only progressive hope we had in the USP. Our brief alliance with him accomplished great things, but we ran into a very worrying revelation. In our last meeting before the USP abandoned him, President Alfonso said that Sol was not gone and still pulled the strings behind his back. He was suspicious about a conspiration against him, conspiracy maybe, against his reformist agenda, and he feared everything would collapse around him. And it did, and afterwards the party voted you in. I don't think it was a coincidence, Mr. Rain. You think Sol and the Old God orchestrated all of this? Yes, they knew that Alfonso's reforms would cripple their strength and remove them from power, so they removed him first. After seeing the clear picture that the soulless deep state was real, oh boy, it's the deep state, brother, and had such extensive influence that they can topple presidents, He looked down for a second and continued. We are in this together, so I'll be honest, I lost hope that Solon would achieve the liberties and democracy that we've worked so hard for, with Solism still being intact and so powerful. So I decided to act. Act how? I knew that I had to play by their rules when I was contacted by an Allocation senator and one of their Allocation's biggest tycoons, and I decided to agree to their meeting in hopes to receive support. Let him continue. I flew to Allocation and eventually met President Walker. He offered political and economic support for me and my party, asking us to lead Solon into the democratic sphere and become a member of the ATO, but I couldn't agree to his exploitative requests that would have crippling effects on our economy. Wow! This guy's way cooler than I thought he would be. I told him that I was only there to increase economic cooperation and nothing else. I did not get... Well, he could be lying about this. I did not get their support, nor did I do anything illegal. To this day, I feel ashamed to have gone to the feet of Allocation, but at least I've managed to stop myself from becoming the very thing I've been fighting against. I'm grateful that you're telling me this. Thanks for taking it so well. We must always be honest to one another. You have the authority to investigate this and potentially prosecute me for it. I gave you my trust with this, I hope I have yours too. I'll always acknowledge my wrongs and keep fighting for a better future. I believe we are not that different in this. You're correct. I hope to be together in this fight for a better future. As the revolutionaries once said, the morning will come, Mr. Rain. We'll see it one day. Anyway, if you want to discuss this topic further, you can call me later sometime. I don't have anything to hide. He stood up. I'll get going now if you'll excuse me. Thanks for the meeting. It's nice to have a president that we can finally have a dialogue with. He laughed. I'll see you in the historic vote. Have a nice evening for now. So the political side of things is going excellent, honestly. I feel very optimistic about the politics of Sordland right now, but I don't feel so optimistic about the economy or the military situation. Rain meets Richter. The meeting could be an indication that the president is truly aiming for democratic reform as opposed to paying lip service or using the opportunity to consolidate his own power. We'll know more once the results for the meeting are announced. Richter backs Rain's reforms. It's time our parties stand together in order to make changes to our outdated constitution. The group's deputy chairwoman, Mrs. Suhail, protested Richter's calls for bipartisanship and blamed the party's leadership for handing Sordland to President Rain on a silver platter. She was seen leaving the meeting during Richter's speech in protest. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, so there's a chance parts of the PFJP will just not support me out of, the fact that I'm just a USP member, I guess. Ishaval Urson is right. Yeah, there's a case of Ishaval Urson, which must become important. Thousands protest the new governor of Helluland. Thousands in Heliport took to the streets to protest the Agnolian government's increasing control over Helluland's administration following the appointment of a new governor. Chancellor Hagel was quick to condemn the decision to appoint the new person. Majority of residents of these islands still claim Valg heritage or have direct Valglandian descendants. Experts say that the increasing tensions between Agnolian and Valgsund prompted the Agnolian authorities to make the decision with an aim to increase the control of the island. You know what would be amazing? If Agnolia gave over Heliport to Valgsund in exchange for a military alliance. Just saying. I wonder what kind of concessions we'll have to make to Lesbia. Who, by the way, still have a kind of cool flag. This flag, NATO-esque, I guess. This flag is cool, but also spooky. This flag is very complicated. But I like the... I've always liked the symbolism of the grain wreath. And the cog, especially combined, right? Or I don't know what the actual word for the cog is different, but English is not my first language. But yeah, I've always liked that symbolism or that imagery. And this is decent. It does look like they've got some sort of pseudo Viking heritage with that shield thing in the background, though it does also make me a bit wary because it looks very similar to the symbol of the of national unity or national whatever you want to call them, the Nazi Party of Norway that collaborated with the Nazi, well, the Nazi Party and the Nazi occupation. You know, Vidkun Quisling, word Quisling meaning now traitor in the English language because of his actions, where he tried to orchestrate a coup in Norway over the radio. And of course it failed miserably, and then the Germans rolled in and they were like, so who's in charge? And he said, me. And the Germans were like, nobody likes you here. You're not in charge. We'll put, you know, Reichskommissar Josef Terboven, or whatever his name was, in charge. Let's see, several award company contract. Yeah, we can do that. This is a quick thing to do. We can do the Swedish State Corporation, we can do Underhall Construction, or Taurus Holding. So which one was the one that could be quick, but... no, we have little budget. I hope they don't get overloaded by doing this, but yeah, we have little budget, we probably should do that instead. PFJP conference. Yeah. Anything else? No, we just have one more event now. University of Valgen, updates on the situation of education. We'll do that next episode. Thank you so much for watching, and of course the steady support. Thank you for that as well. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.